Careful, that's the most precious thing I have. Okay. I'm going to tell it anyway. I'm coming up the escalator. Have you ever had this occasion where you see someone you know? And, okay, I have gray hair, and the gentleman looks at me and says, "Oh, David, your grandchild." And you turn to him and say, "No." "Oh, your great-grandchild." And immediately, accidentally, you go, "Screw you." No, that's my little girl. Look, I had really three quick things. One, thank you for coming to Arizona. We have an amazing state. We're still a young state. We're still learning. But thank you for spending time here. There were actually two issues that they won't let me come behind the microphone for. Our office, for the last couple years, is working on a project. How many of you have go and ever lobby in Congress and go there and visit? How many of you ever get this? Well, we have an earmark ban. We can't fix that problem because, well, we're going to use the excuse that there's an earmark ban. We cannot address your individual community's promise, even though some of them are adjudicated settlements. We, in our office, for a couple years now, are trying to collect every agreement, whether it be an adjudicated water settlement, whether it be a piece of property that should be moved into trust status. We know there's stacks of them out there, and would you believe it's been really, really difficult to find a common registry of here's the agreements that are out there. Please reach out to our office, help us. One of our goals next year is to package all these into a single piece of legislation. That way we get around the earmark ban and say, here's our commitments, whether it be from courts, whether it be from arbitration, whether it be just agreements and settlements. Some are very simple, some are very complex, but here's our promises to Indian country. We have found water settlements that were adjudicated almost 20 years ago and still haven't been funded. It's time to get these done. It's time just to meet our obligations and get it over with, but we need the list. So please, it may seem so obvious and so simple, but help us put it together. The second thing I'm going to give you is for your communities, if you have a young person, how many of you have youth councils? Everyone has a youth council. I've been blessed to travel all over this state and speak to a lot of them. Encourage some of those young people to go work, whether it be in the office in the district or the office in Washington, D.C. as an intern. As you start to understand, so much of what we do in Washington, D.C. is knowing what phone number to call, what person to talk to. Those relationships are incredibly important. But you have a lot of members of Congress that may have a tribal community in the district or in their state. They think they know things. As my mother used to say to me, what are the two times in life? This is my mother making fun of me for running for office. What are the two times in life people think they know everything? Come on, this is a good one. You're 14 years old and the day after you get elected. To my council people friends, I'm sorry, but the joke does work. But that's also the problem. I have lived my entire life within 1,000 yards of a tribal community. My whole life. I used to chair the Indian Affairs Committee, which is sort of absurd considering I'm a pasty white guy from Scottsdale, but I learned how much I don't know. You learn how complicated the real world is out there and how different the communities are out there. Help us. Give us some of your young people to work for 6 weeks or 6 months as an intern, as a staffer. You will be amazed the power that comes from the knowledge and those relationships. So the two things I'm asking, consider working with your youth groups and your members of Congress to do some type of internship or staff relationship. And number two, if you have an agreement out there, whether it's still being worked on, whether it's completely adjudicated, whether it's been arbitrated, please, you got to get it to our office. Because by this time next year, I'm going to have this piece of legislation done and hopefully working with you and your members of Congress to start to move it through the process. Now, last moment of reality. It doesn't mean there's a check coming tomorrow. There doesn't, you know, it's dealing with Congress, but we have been designing it so some of it could be laddered. So as certain things are completed, we meet our obligations. We just need the information. Thank you.